I saw a face that I hadn't seen before. Charles Lord, are you new here or have you been in the meetings before?
I'm an old timer.
Oh, okay.
I don't normally come because I moved away from the Triangle 14 years ago,
Oh, wow.
but I was there for 30 something years.
So where are you now?
Asheville.
Asheville. Oh, geez, you're in the
Yeah.
washed out area. So anyway, we'll welcome you, Charles, even though we haven't been in a meeting in a while, I guess. But
he mans the IEEE table at the circuit show. And gives away.
And yeah, I was gonna
rather nice screwdriver kits.
Yeah, you're bordering on the announcement part. So if you've got some announcements, let's do those.
Yeah, I'd asked Paul about talking about some things we got coming up in a conference in Charlotte next March. If I can take a time for that.
Sure.
Okay. Every spring, the IEEE has a conference somewhere in the Southeast called Southeast Con. The normal conference is a academic paper conference. There's a student conference, and then there is an administrative meeting of all the IEEE local folks, like from the Eastern Carolina section there in Raleigh. One thing that we're adding this coming year, and by the way, it's going to be in Charlotte, actually Concord, down at the Embassy Suites. It's pretty much next door to the racetrack, to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. But we're doing industry days, which is apart from the academic side of things. It's a little bit like the presentations for hardware at PCB Carolina, the early software things that were ATO 2 weeks ago. If you're familiar with like the old embedded systems conference that used to hold in Boston and out in Silicon Valley, which I participated in. I was a speaker in that for about 100 years, it seems like. But what we're doing is just a small day and a half show out there, well, a conference and show, looking for people to be speakers in some areas. One is robotics, so there's a number of folks, particularly in the Triangle and even in Charlotte, that are working in various robotics and autonomous vehicles and whatnot. IoT, which of course is still, it's I wouldn't say it's a hot topic, but it's still a greatly debated topic, particularly for security, edge processing, using a little bit of machine learning and the various protocols. I predicted when IoT first came along that it was going to be essentially a Tower of Babel, and that's exactly what we're looking at. Hardware design, which again, we're going to touch on stuff that's going to be at PCB Carolina on Wednesday, including a PCB and design for manufacturing. Also looking for somebody who would like to speak on FPGA design. And we also have some people that's coming from IEEE USA that's driving the CHIPS Act, talking about chip design and manufacturing, getting it here in the US, which is, we mentioned things of the last couple of weeks of news. That's going to be important. And then the software design, which affects particularly this group, talking about everything from good practices, hardware abstraction, operating systems, including RTOSs, memory management, security. I just threw various topics out there. And again, I mean, I've done this at the Embedded Systems Conference. I've done it at DigiKey, but I don't want to get up there and talk for a day and a half. I'd like for people to come in and share their parts in it.
Where is this taking place?
It's going to be at the Embassy Suites in north of Charlotte. We're near Concord, near the racetrack. It would be in late March.
Actually never been to Charlotte.
Okay, but you don't have to go to Charlotte to get to this because it's on your side of Charlotte, up north off of. But again, I'm looking for people to, hopefully I'm going to eventually find someone to head up each of these 4 tracks, sort of like a track chair. Then people who would like to do either 1, 2, or 4-hour talks. It could be on general topics, like some of the topics that we cover in TriEmbed. It can be best practices. It can even be a workshop. Even if somebody wanted to do like a 4-hour introduction to Rust or whatever. I mean, just there's lots of different things in there. We're looking for non-commercial things. I mean, if Microchip wants to come in and talk about, their chips, particularly if they do one of the pitches they do, like in one of their online webinars where they start talking about the different, the roadmap for, future of a chip and stuff. That's commercial. If they want to pay for it, we'll put those on. But again, it's going to be on Thursday, the 27th, pretty much all day, and then Friday, half a day. We're also looking at sponsors because most of the people who sponsor this conference are looking at students and academics. Here we're bringing working people, folks like us that can be a way of putting this together. And we also are looking to have a reception the Thursday evening, to keep people occupied between the 2 days. But that's a little bit of what I'm looking at. Their speakers. We don't have a way to pay people, but they be part of the conference for free. There is a major conference that happens Friday and Saturday going into Sunday. Again, it's academic and whatever thing. And it's, if someone would say for that, it would be an additional $300 just because it costs that much to feed people at a hotel. If you've ever done catering at hotels, or even downtown at the Raleigh Convention Center, where we almost put on a conference back in 2020 before everything shut down and stuff. We were looking at about $200,000 to feed people. Attendees for that to attend all the sessions. Right now we're looking at $99 for IEEE members, $149 for non-members, and then an exhibits only pass. And then we have anybody who's an exhibitor, be giving out the free passes to that. And we're looking at folks like Arrow and DigiKey. A number of the TI is going to be there. I'm looking at some other semiconductor folks, and we're trying to sweet talk them. Some of the cloud services, Google, AWS, and whatnot. But again, I'm looking for people who might be interested in helping head up one of those sessions, one of those tracks, and then people who can provide speaker. Anything from a 1 to 4 hour talk. I mean, somebody wants to do all day tutorial and stuff, so we definitely talk to you. And then we're going to be pitching this to exhibitors. It's kind of a cart and horse thing. We have to have people coming to it to get exhibitors to come, but we kind of have to have the exhibitors there to help entice folks to come, because we know that, say the distributors and semiconductor people, everything from the people running RTOS and whatever else. I mean, typical things for embedded conferences. But anyway, that's what I want to talk about. Anybody who'd be interested in helping out with that, just let me know. I will.
Charles,
yes,
what's
sir.
your contact information? Because
I was going to say contact information and maybe the actual address of this place. I can put it in the video description when it goes up on YouTube.
Fantastic. Yes, Scott and Carl, thank you. Yes, I will pass along this document, and I'll include my contact information as well as the exhibitor information.
Well, if it's a lot, you can send off a PDF to me. Or if it's not so much, you can actually just type it in the chat in this. I'll grab it from there and stick it in my notes file that generally goes into the description.
Okay, I'm going to put off the sharing there, and I will type into the chat window. First off, my contact information.
one of the things near and dear to me in your tracks there is best practices. I've been mentoring that at the new company I'm at right now. Not new for me, not new for them. they're kind of reorganizing the whole software development department. I'm trying to mentor a lot of best practices there. And I would love to see a talk on the new C++ 23 standard. It changes for C++ 20.
Charles, is there an online link to this yet? I went to the SoutheastCon website, but it doesn't mention anything about this particular part of the conference. Is there a link?
I have not gotten on the website yet. Again, I'm trying to get a few people to actually dedicate themselves to help with this before I want to put too much publicity out there that it's actually going to happen.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I don't. Do you mind if I put the email in the description on YouTube? Because that's, personal.
You are very welcome to.
Okay.
My email is all over the world, so it's.
Okay. Any other announcements on anything? Okay. I'll see how this all fits into the description when I edit it. Usually takes me about a week and a half or so to edit the video, and so it'll be up.
That's fine. I'm actually a subscriber to the Carl Noble channel.
Yep. The all our videos are posted on the TriEmbed website. I just posted and updated that a few days ago. Do you have that?
I don't know.
You don't? I'll see if I can get it for you. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
I just posted the link to the TriEmbed website. If you go on there, and I think it's under archives or something like that, you'll see all the videos, and you'll also be able to get to my channel that way too.
Right.
It's under meetings and then archive.
Right. I have it up on my other screen right now.
For those who came in late, Paul won't be here today. He's up in the mountains. His daughter just had her second child, and she has some breathing problems, I guess, and she's in the ICU, but they say it looks like she's going to be coming out soon. All right. Any other announcements of anything? So unhappily today, we do not have a project of the day. Project of the month, I should say.
You mean a problem of the month? Actually, I've got something for you guys.
You do?
Yeah, I'm looking for a solution or some advice on an I2C chip PMIC. Something that'll manage battery charge, give me some information on not only the voltage level of the battery, but of the main circuit after the regulator. Time to depletion, time to charge, full charge, approximate, level kind of a thing, that type stuff. I've got a couple of chips I've been looking at, but just wanted to get some advice and some suggestions from you guys on best approach.
Nick, that sounds like something that you've got a bit of experience with.
Yeah, I haven't found a really, really good solution. I've got.
Now you know why it's a problem of the month.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I found charging chips and haven't found a this is it. This is the solution chip. But I have not recently looked. I've given up on that particular quest for a little while. Have you looked at any of the Dallas stuff? If Dallas Dallas still in existence?
Yeah, I've got a couple of prospects. The EM guys are looking into fitting it onto our particular carrier board and the pinouts, and whether we've got enough on our current I2C bus to handle the load. The load as in the an extra chip and address and stuff like that. I'm looking at it from a software perspective of sending to and parsing the information coming back from a PMIC, and each one is different.
Yeah, it's as I remember digging into it. I remember finding some Dallas chips that were, I think it was Dallas that, there was something, but I haven't looked at that stuff recently.
We found a TI one that is a good candidate, but I haven't had got one in for evaluation yet to check it out.
Yeah, I'm of no particular help at this point.
So when you guys are monitoring power and the battery backup charge, etc., what are some of the gotchas, or what are some of the big things you guys consider when you're looking into that?
Well, I've done some, and Pete is doing some voltage and current monitoring with a TI chip. It's the 622 or the 613 IDA, I think is the prefix. Which
Yep,
is
that's one of the ones I was looking at.
Yeah, I've got a couple of them. If they're, I've got a couple of the 33s if you need them on boards. Pete's got a couple of the 13s, I think. And you've got to, the current sensing chip is on the boards I have is designed for a lot of current, but you can easily replace that. The 622s are 16-bit, and the 613s are 12-bit.
Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing that on that spreadsheet.
Yeah, the 633 has like a 56 volt tolerance. The 13s have a 32 volt, I think it is. I say if you need some, I've got somewhere sitting around me a couple PC boards based on the 633s, and Pete just ordered. They'll probably be at his place tomorrow. Some of the 13s.
Okay, well, if you can pop me the numbers, I mean, our company will buy them. You don't have to just give them to me. It's billable to the customer anyway, so.
Scott, what language you use for writing the software? C?
A combination of things. Right now, the bare bones stuff, we've got a multi-core processor from NXP that we're playing with. And the bare bones part of it is all in C. On the Linux side, on the others, is C++ for the most part, with some C sprinkled in, simply because the GUI library and tools that they're using is C-based. I've been kind of pretty much steering and pushing the development environment, pushing the tools. They went with a very long time ago back in when I first started up with the company was MCU Expresso from, was that Azurio? Used to be Boundary Devices. I forget which, but anywho, we've gone to just a straight up VS Code and CMake because that's what I could get a consensus on with the whole team. I'm more familiar with an ST series of chips that have a very similar quad core for the one side, and well, this NXP chip, for example, is a quad core A53 and a single M7. And we've got the pins arranged such that most of the I/O is going through the M7. This has been a beast of a learning curve for me, by the way.
That's life.
Oh, I know it. That's why I get paid.
The project I'm working on, which is an open source project, is software, and it's Python, and it's all astronomy. and I'd never done astronomy stuff before. So I think we had mentioned this before, or I had talked about it, but yeah, I'm implementing a calendar, not the Gregorian calendar. And it's based on the vernal equinox, which is the beginning of the year at sunset. So the day starts at sunset. So figuring out all of this stuff was quite complex. I'm actually working on the higher level stuff now. The astronomy stuff's all done.
I might want to pick your brain for my little side gig, which is smart home. I did some algorithm stuff for sunrise and sunset, but it's not exactly, it's good enough, but it's not exactly accurate.
Actually, I published an algorithm that's out on PyPy for sunrise sunset a couple of years ago, before I even did this project. That seems to be pretty accurate. I was coming up with similar readings, similar results with that, and the one I'm currently working on. The one I'm currently working on is a lot more complicated, because you got to know where the sun is, and you got to know where the moon is, and you got to know what there's nutation of obliquity, which is the equator that wobbles, and you got to take this into account. And nutation of longitude is the Earth. So normally the Earth tilts at what, 23.24 degrees or something like that. Well, it's never actually there. It wobbles around it, and it's a 6-year cycle that goes around that point. It never actually hits that exact point. That's an average.
Well, I noticed
you got to take that into account also.
The sun cycle sometimes affects it as well, with regards to the spin of the Earth and the speed of the spin. Like these last 2 years, we've gotten about a fraction of a second faster.
Yeah, actually, we are speeding up. That's well known. That's well known, which is one of the reasons why they don't use UTC time. They use in astronomy, they use time that's actually based on. So they used to use the vernal equinox to determine the position of the Earth. They don't do that anymore, because it's not as accurate as the new method they're using. The new method is actually based on, I think it's 3 stars that are so far away that to the Earth it looks like they never move. And that's what they now base the distance, where the Earth is in the universe. Is they're using that now. And the people, when I say they, so this is the United States Naval Observatory and the British, Her Majesty's something or other, I forget the name. They kind of work together, and they produce a naval almanac, obviously under different titles depending on which country you're in. But I mean, the United States does almost all of the astronomical stuff, and the UK does all the ephemeral stuff, which is the stuff dealing with dates and time. So they use dynamical time standard.
What is I know the input, there's an input from the Australians too. What is it that they provide?
I'm not really sure. They may do something, and and the French do something, because the actual atomic clock that's used to determine dynamical time is in France. Even though the British did all the calculations dealing with that, and all the, that's what's being published, is what the work the British did dealing with what they call ephemeris, which is time. And the United States did all of the stuff dealing with astronomy, which is logical, right? Because we're the ones that's sending satellites up, and we want to make sure that we send somebody up in a capsule that when they go to the moon, they're not actually going to go out to the middle of space somewhere. So you got to get.
And they're not late when they arrive either.
Yeah, they could arrive a little late.
Yep.
But
I just worry about them punching through all this satellites there and not hitting one.
Yeah. Around the moon? There aren't too many satellites around the moon. There's
No, but there's a whole cloud of them here around the Earth that they got to get
you're
through
right.
first.
Well, Musk and his what do you call it? What's his satellite?
He's got
Starlink.
Starlink and something
Starlink,
else.
yeah. And there's 2 other companies that are now putting up stuff. So
Yeah, one from India, and there was one other, and they weren't reporting them.
I think Meta's putting up satellites.
Ooh, another one. But yeah, no, my big interest is more in saving energies and also, what's around the house and things. So observation of cloud cover, observation of sunrise, sunset, but not only that, sun intensity through the day.
Yeah. So the methods that I'm using now, I'm sorry, this is kind of off the topic of electronics, but people seem to be into it. But not only do I do sunrise and sunset, I also do transient, which is it's the period of time between the sunrise and sunset, and right in the middle is the actual noon, which is not always 12 o'clock noon. So, but that's the point that the sun is the highest. So that also can factor into the amount of heat and whatnot that you get during the course of the day.
Now, electronics, I've been using a couple of different kinds of sensors for that.
Yeah.
To try to ascertain intensity and ascertain strongest illumination and that kind of thing.
Anyway, so Richard, welcome. You came in a little late, but good you're here. Any other comments about Scott's CPU hunt?
Not CPU, PMIC.
Phoenix, you said?
PMIC, power management IC.
Oh, power management ICs. Okay. I'm going to have to correct that. I just said chip. I didn't actually say CPU.
Yeah, I'm just trying to manage battery charge and manage expectation of somebody using the equipment, because it's expected to be unplugged most of the time, but it's got to charge it when it is. It's kind of like idle. They're not really supposed to use it while it's charging. Looking at 30 amps of current.
Yeah, I mean, I was working on a project a while ago that was trying to measure current and whatnot. I can't say I've completely abandoned it. I've put it on hold for over a year already. I will until I finish this current project with the software. I'm not going to be able to get into much else, but I want to do this before I pass on to the next world.
Where you have a whole different system of clocks.
Yeah. Yeah. In this calendar, a day is not necessarily 24 hours. Actually, the only day of the year that actually is, that from what I can tell, is the day that the vernal equinox falls on. All other days are either slightly longer or slightly shorter than 24 hours. And they start at sunset, not at 12 midnight.
Does that have to take into consideration the apogee and perigee of the Earth's orbit and all that fun stuff?
Yeah, everything. There's like procession, progression. There's all sorts of stuff that you got to take. The effects of other planets. These are all done in polynomials. I mean, I didn't come up with all of this stuff. These are some well-known formulas. Guy named Jean Meus from Belgium, still living. He's like 95 years old. Wrote a book back in called Astronomical Algorithms. Got a red cover, and he wrote this book back in was it 98 or 88? I can't remember. One of the two. And everybody uses his stuff like it's gospel. So, and that's basically what I've used. I've put in some modifications based on current observations. I've changed some of the tables from what he has to tables that NASA has found to be more accurate. I've done a bunch of stuff, and I seem to be right on the money. I'm usually within a minute of what NASA has for the vernal equinox and the United States Naval Observatory has. They're not. Then those two are not necessarily exactly the same either. Each one of those two can also be off from each other by a minute. But I'm like right on the money. For most cases, for any reasonable calculation. The only time it becomes a problem is when the vernal equinox falls extremely close to sunset. Where do you put it? Anywho, I'll keep my mouth shut. Any other ideas, comments, or whatnot? Then we'll go into show and tell if we have any. Looks like we're kind of mum here. Okay, any show and tell stuff people have? Nick has nothing.
I have nothing. I've been finishing. I've got my PC board milling machine running kind of nicely, so I can now mill PC boards. I've been playing with this monochromata, which is capable of giving me very exact light sources anywhere from 250 to 800 nanometers. So I can look at fluorescence markers. But they're still, I'm still messing things up and drilling holes where they shouldn't be. And it's just beginning to get stuff working.
Are you getting good registration between front and back side when you have to flip the board over and carve the other side out?
Moderately good. I'm just using this. I have a rosin-based additive 3D printer, which if I want to do the exposing thing, gives me good registration. The milling machine is basically gives me holes and the ability to rough something out with, if I'm connecting buses, etc. Just do a real quick thing without having to get involved with applying film and developing stuff and all of that happy stuff.
You're just simply soldering on both sides for any through-hole type equivalent?
Oh, yeah. No, this is, it's so cheap to have PC boards made. All I want is, I need something quickly to see if,
Prototype.
to see what mistake I made. Yeah.
Prototype.
Prototypes. There's got to be a pre-prototype.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Pre-prototype.
It's like,
if the board is of sufficient size, you definitely need to do something like that.
Yeah. I'm building a milling machine because I'm insane. And it's got things going on where I've got to connect multiple stepper motors together, and I can just quickly put something that has 3 headers on it and a buffer chip, and I can get that done really quickly to work out why I haven't connected VCC properly. I can just do things quickly. And that's
or if you're using pull-ups where you needed pull-downs or something.
Well, I've got a weird thing where the stepper motor driver, if I try and run multiple of those brick stepper motor drivers off of a in this case, I think it's an Arduino. I tend to miss steps if I don't buffer it. So I've got it's just easy to buffer it. And I'm a couple other things like that. On my monochromator, I've got stepper motors that are driving the diffraction gratings just right, and I've got end stops that have to go in there so I don't screw things up. And it's I don't want to sit around waiting for a week for a PC board to come back to realize I did something stupid. I want to know I did something stupid right then and there. And so that's that's what this is designed to do.
You don't design bugs into your boards, do you?
Not intentionally.
Not intentionally, but it is. They tend to creep in, and it's often by the time that I get the board back from the Arch Park or whoever makes them, I realized that I wanted to do it a different way anyway. So let's just face I got the whole design wrong up front. It's
have you abstracted the motor drive, like maybe through a CAN bus driving board or something?
At the moment, I'm just using an ESP32. It's I've got the Z-axis is 2 NEMA 23s. The X and Y axis are NEMA 23s. There's a 2 horsepower milling head that gets raised and lowered, and there's a rotation axis, a theta axis, which is also a NEMA 23. So there are 1, 2, 5 motors in there.
With encoders or without?
It's at the moment without. I just my plan is to run the thing very slowly to begin with. I just need to be able to drill holes and get them approximately in the right place, and I don't care if it takes it quite a bit of time. I'm not running this thing fast at all. I just want to be able to drill a matrix of holes and be reasonably sure that they're in the right place.
I got something I'm working on that has to be accurate to the tenths of a millimeter, and so they've got 1600. They got 1600 steps on the encoder per revolution. We've got what'd they say? 200 steps motor drive with 8 microsteps, or 8 sub steps, or whatever that's called. And so we decided to use a third-party library called it's a CAN Open, and a CAN-based motor drive board. And there's a lot of really nice functionality in CAN Open. That
I've looked at the CAN bus stuff, and it's at the moment I'm trying to get the motors all to run so that they so that both of the Z-axis motors go up and down. One doesn't go up and one doesn't go down. Get rid of any vibration that's going on. I'm trying to keep things as simple as I can, and then I'll do the embellishment later. I've got
nothing like acceleration curves and deceleration curves, and
I'm not even gonna. All I want to be able to. I don't care if it takes 2 hours to do something. I just want it to be. I'm running the maximum resolution. This is not designed for production. This is designed for being able to hack something. I have an optical table, 2,000 damn pound optical table, and all sorts of optical fixtures that do holography and do. I've got stuff that will do better than 10 nanometers resolution. But it's occasionally I need a plate with holes in the right place so I can tighten stuff down, and and so I decided to build myself a machine that will put, because I'm really bad with rulers. They all end up in the holes. I probably need just a drill press, but the holes end up in the wrong places, and I get frustrated. But yeah, I've got there's some good ESP32 codes to run the thing, and yeah, I'm this is something that I embarked on a while ago, and I'm just getting around to finishing it because I have all of these extruded aluminum pieces lying around that I feel guilty that I haven't bolted together properly yet. So I'm bolting them together. When I get it done, I'll post a YouTube video.
Any other show and tell or anything? Don't everybody speak at once.
Well, Dawn's been doing some gas sensing stuff that I want to talk to her about.
Gas sensing?
Gas
I
sensing.
was going to do a demo tonight, and then, of course, at 6 o'clock, I turned things on, and it had all disconnected and wasn't monitoring anything for the past 4 days. And anyway, so.
What
But I was having electrical work done in the house, and so I'm sure that it just got.
What type of gases are you trying to sense?
So the story is there's a teacher at a local high school, and she was concerned about the air quality in some of the classrooms, and she wasn't getting anywhere just saying I'm concerned about it. And so she wanted this monitor built that it monitors all kinds of things. It has 5 different sensors, and so it can monitor temperature and humidity, CO2, volatiles, ozone, and particulate matter. I think that's it. Anyway, so the original, she found some design online, and I built that for her, but it was using a Pro Mini, and it could only store 24 hours worth of data, and since there was no Wi-Fi or anything, it was just, your data's on this thing and that's it. So I'm modifying it to use the ESP32 and learning all kinds of interesting things.
And I'm going to convince Dawn to build a gas chromatograph on an ESP32.
I'll do it.
I have the designs. I have everything necessary.
Do you even have those little tiny light bulbs?
I have the little tiny light bulbs. I have other ways of doing it. Yep.
Sounds good.
I have thermometer chips that are accurate to 100th of a degree. And I have cat litter. Cat litter is an important.
Yeah.
You run the gas through an absorbing surface, and you look at the differential flow of the gas. The larger molecules take longer, and you can buy molecular sieves, which are not that expensive, or you can use cat litter. And if you get if you're successful, then you get the really good cat litter that's zeolite. It's made of crystals, and that actually works very effectively. And you need a 6-foot tube full of cat litter. And then you at the end of the cat litter, you heat the gas, and then you put a fixed amount of power into the gas, which should heat it by a fixed amount. And depending upon the thermal conductivity of the gas, you can tell different benzenes. You can get very accurate readings on the gas by looking at how the temperature flow, how the temperature flow changes. And I have kitty litter, Dawn.
I have cats, so I have kitty litter too.
Okay, I also have zeolite and all the tubing necessary. I have some 5A zeolite, which is the has very accurate absorbing, but you don't even need the light. You can do it. even more simply than the light bulb they use. But he uses, the thing I sent you uses a differential a heat balance, and he uses the same chip that you use in the digital scale. It's a strain gauge chip, and you just balance the heat intake. But you can do it. You can do it even more simply than that. So next time you go to buy cat litter, buy the really good blue stuff with the crystals in it. And we'll walk through building a gas chromatograph.
The mud based or the little sand like stuff?
It's this one that's it comes in a plastic bag, and the material is zeolite, which is it's a crystal. It looks kind of like salt.
Yeah, I was wondering why it was blue because I have a cat and I have cat litter, and the cat litter is a little bit on the blue side.
Yeah, the blue is a marker that triggers off the ammonia. The transparent crystals are it's a Canadian mineral called zeolite, which is very good at absorbing gases. So you can use it to. That's why you use it. Yes, it absorbs smell very well. So if you fill a small diameter tube with 6 feet of kitty litter, and then pump a gas into it, what you will see is that at the end of that, the thermal conductivity of the gas will change. So you start out with a carrier gas, and the best carrier gas to use is helium from the balloon store. So you get yourself a can of helium, and you inject your gas into the helium, and then you look at how it changes the thermal conductivity.
Sounds good.
Plan to me.
Okay, we have a plan.
Yeah, I started the video again.
Okay.
Quick question, Carl. Do the comments in the chat get recorded in any way with the videos?
So I usually copy and paste them into a notes.txt file that I put in a directory where the video goes, and I do all the editing and whatnot within that directory, and then I spell check it later on and fix that, and then before I put it into the actual description in YouTube. So I try to get them in. Try to get them all in there. I try to grab what's in the chat. Sometimes I miss something. There's another one in there now. I'll put that one in.
Okay, thanks. I was just wondering if sometimes, well, I've gone to find things and then realized that after I close Jitsi that they aren't there. But anyway.
Yeah, right. As soon as you close it, yeah. So I have to, usually when everybody logs off, I have to save the video and then make sure I've got everything in the chat. And I just have to consciously remember to do all of this stuff before I close my session of Jitsi.
Okay, well, thanks for doing that.
I think we just lost Nick.
Yeah, looks like we lost Nick.
Yeah, the tool that they use where I work, it's nice because anybody who's on the meeting can save chat to a file.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't see a way to do that here.
I don't know about Jitsi. It's just the tool that they use where I work.
Oh, yeah. No, Jitsi doesn't allow that. What do you use? WebEx?
Teams.
Oh, Team. Oh, Nick's back.
My sound died. I couldn't hear what anyone was saying, so I had to restart. I know you're all talking about me. I could sense it. I'm very sensitive about that.
Yeah, I'll have to cut that part out of the video. All
Yeah,
those
yeah,
nasty words that were said.
yeah, yeah. It's
Anywho,
We haven't heard from Bill much.
nope.
Man, not much to say.
And Rich,
Same thing. Not much to say.
not much to
Barely
say.
made it. I was out of town, barely made it in time. So
Yeah, Paul sent out an email, so you can check the email and see why he wasn't here.
I've missed the
Anyway.
last couple of months because we were in Megadeth overtime trying to get our prototype up to the customer.
Yeah, I remember those crunch times back when I was working. I mean, I'm still working, but not making any money at it. Just keeps me busy during the day. Otherwise, I'd be pulling my hair out. My beard would even be thinner. You lost a few on the top, huh, there, Scott?
Oh yeah, I'm a lot lighter this year than I was last year.
Yeah, my receding hairline has definitely been receding. So anyway, so I mean, we can kill this now unless anybody has anything else to say. There's nothing else to talk to. We can end the meeting. We've done over an hour, so we're okay. All righty.
Thanks all.
So
appreciate it.
I'll
See y'all
kill the
later.
video. See you all later.
Okay, thanks. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, good night, guys.